want to go into Andy's crystal ball here. We need some hot takes. We need some predictions for the 2021 season. Since you're the man that I go to for all my running knowledge, I'm expecting you to know and be able to see into the crystal ball of what's going to happen in 2021.
No pressure.
No pressure at all. No pressure at all.
First question. Does Donavan Brazier break the 800-meter world record in 2021?
No, he won't. No. He might go under 142, but beyond that, no way. Rudisha is just untouchable.
Answer.
Yeah, I know, he's so confident, right? I'm like, yeah, you're right.
I just think it's so unlikely. I'd give him a 3% chance.
Oh.
Also, in a championship season, it's less likely. Probably.
Exactly. Yeah, I think he has the future potential, but I mean, it's so good. It's such a good record that is so. I just don't see that happening even before 2030. Honestly, Nigel Amos and Brazier are both beasts.
That was brave. 10 years.
I mean,
that's a big crystal ball.
I've studied that one race potentially more than any other race, and it was just so good. And I mean, I had the pleasure of talking with Nick Simmons about the actual race itself, and he was saying how even before the gun went off, like Rudisha was like, "I'm gonna go out. I'm gonna break the world record. You guys come with me." Yeah. And it happened, and it was just such a timeless moment. I would be so shocked if he broke that next year. I mean, I've made videos saying, will he do it? Maybe, but my guess would be no.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, that's insane beast mode, that race that Rudisha just from the front. So it's on that same note then, is David Rudisha at the 2021 Olympics? And if so, does he medal?
You want to take this one? I mean, I would love more than anything else for that to happen, because he strikes me as such a chill vibe kind of guy.
Absolutely.
Not that I know too much about his personal life, but I would be surprised if he was able to make that comeback, because Kenya is so deep in every category, and while he's the GOAT of the 800, along with like Seb Coe, if he made the comeback just to make the Olympics, that would already be unbelievable. And I read an article a few days ago. He was saying that he was experiencing some struggles. So that's unfortunate. The comeback from surgery, from COVID lockdowns, all of the things hindering his training, I would be surprised to see him in the Olympics, unfortunately.
Yeah, I think I'm with you on that. But hoping that there's something.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
We want to ask about, so some of our previous guests on the podcast, we want to know what their odds are. So Karissa Schweizer, does she make the 2021 Olympics? And if so, what are her medal chances at the 2021 Olympics?
I mean, she did a great job in the 5K against Houlihan. That was solid. I mean, the Bowerman team did do a great job this year. Oh man.
For the audio only listeners, this is like shaking her head and like I don't know, what are you thinking?
Yeah, I'm like, okay.
This is deep. I'm picturing the race where she ran against Houlihan and ran one of the fastest times in American history. It's like she's clearly in great shape and she's rivaling against Houlihan, but Houlihan already is like gonna have to deal with Helen. I mean, I'm going Rain Man mode, I'm realizing, but it's also like very relevant. I mean,
no, this is
that's
great.
What want. Yeah. This is your Rain Man moment, baby.
I mean, our listeners, ours collectively, our listeners are running nerds. They want to know
exactly.
This
yes,
that's true.
This is
don't
my
feel
venting. Self-conscious.
This is my venting moment. Are you saying what are the odds of her medaling in the Olympics?
So first of all, I guess let's go odds on her making the Olympic team, and then what are the odds of her actually medaling? Yeah.
I think her odds of making the Olympic team are solid, very solid. Whether or not she does the 5K, potentially 10K. I mean, she's a strong, pretty fast runner. I think she can make her own decision on where she wants to run. She's got options there. Medaling in the Olympics as a natural distance runner from the United States is extremely rare.
Yes.
I think the last one to do that might have been Shalane Flanagan in 2008. Who made a legit bronze medal, moved up to silver medal. Galen Rupp did it in 2012. That was great as well. She has a chance. There's always the possibility. I mean, anyone can pop out and make a great performance on the world's biggest stage. That's the unwritten drama that we all want to see. It's going to be difficult for sure. Kenya, Ethiopia, like D-Day breaking the world record this year in the 5,000. Helen Obiri is super consistent. The endless East Africans to deal with 5,000, 10,000, 3,000 steeplechase. That will be very difficult. Best of luck. I hope she does it. I'm not even going to throw out a probability because I want her to, in any American for that regard, but that will be difficult for sure.
She told us she's gonna do the double. She's gonna do 5K, 10K at the trials.
Okay.
Try to get them both. So
that'd be awesome.
So she has options. Okay, another friend of the pod then, Irish runner making his comeback, Ciaran O'Lionaird. Do you think he can make the mile? Let's say can he make the Olympic finals in the mile coming back? Because I think he's a pretty solid lock on making the Olympic team for as long as he hits the standard for Ireland. But does he make the final? And if so, does he medal? He's a 3:34 guy by PR, but that was in 2012 maybe. It's been a bit.
Making the finals for the 1500, I feel like, is a jigsaw puzzle all by itself. And I think back to Alan Webb and in his, even just like the year after he broke the American record, he didn't even make the team. There's so much talent throughout the world. Getting to the finals requires 2 awesome races.
Yeah.
The finals, I mean, it is possible. You're going to be up against so many good runners that are going to be going all out in the quarterfinals, the semifinals, making it like their biggest effort just to get there. The cream of the crop is going to make it to the top no matter what. That sounded like a sweet rhyme. Anyways.
That was poetic.
So, yeah, exactly. I'm throwing out sweet vibes. I think he totally has a shot. If he can match his 3:34, that's very competitive. But navigating your way through the quarters and semis is so challenging. Again, this goes straight back to finding a way to get there because only a handful of people even get to the finals, let alone make the Olympic standard. And so you're going to have to, it's tough. I'm stuck on Alan Webb. The year after he runs a 3:46 mile, doesn't make the Olympics.
Yeah.
And his career was a little more volatile than other people. He was extraordinarily high when he was good, but had difficulties with consistency. It's just the 1500 is like the premier middle distance event, more so than even the 800, I would argue. So there's a chance, but it's going to be a challenge.
I'm with you. Okay, the last friend of the podcast that we've had on, does Allie Ostrander make the Tokyo Olympic team?
Hell yeah, she'll find a way. Yeah,
let's go.
She's proven her strength. 3,000, like steeplechase. She has a few options as well, like Schweizer does. I'm just excited for racing to start again, honestly, and I'm expecting that when she does, I would love to see Spencer really improve in 2021. And I've talked to him. As like a fellow YouTuber, we've like connected multiple times, and I've told him like, you just need the proper training group and the right, consistency to really bring out that great performance. Hopefully being with Allie, who's, obviously a little more experienced than him, can really sharpen his focus. So Allie's got a great shot. I would say yes. Spencer has, obviously, he would probably tell you the exact same. Like, he's just brand new with the Brooks Beasts. He's got, strides to make before he's like bringing the confidence of Josh Kerr. But like, Allie's a 2021 shoe-in at this point. I feel like.
I love it. You heard it here first. And that's funny. That's funny about Spencer too, because when we were talking to him, he was saying the same of like, I just joined the Brooks Beast. Like, they told me my diet sucks. I have so much room for improvement. And I think everyone sees that on his YouTube channel. He's just making cold cut sandwiches and Snicker bars for most of his meals. So so he has room for improvement, but that's
I think he'll be one of the most fun to watch over the next.
He will be. It'll be fun to see the progression, and then like with dating Allie, and she's just crushing the training. Like if you're dating someone who's working out like 5 hours a day and you're only like trying to work out 1 hour yourself, you feel bad. So I feel like he's going to just up the training, and
that's the best peer pressure he could have. I feel like
it is,
because you mimic your partner, and Allie is like an institution in herself. I was watching a video on Flow Track. She was featured there like 5 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
She's been a part of that just solid, consistent training movement for years. And so I'm excited that I'm excited they're dating. And I loved watching that podcast you did with them. I have high hopes for both of them in the future.
Definitely. Okay, who's the most underrated runner?
Oh my goodness, most underrated runner. I feel like I need to dig back into my own preferences here. This is an opinion question.
Me.
Probably Eunice. Yeah.
Because I'm not that. That wouldn't be underrated. That would be like rated low for a good reason.
But I think the people said you were overrated as a beginner because you were too
that's
fast.
true. That's true. They did say that. It's like you can't please anybody these days. Like, geez. We're giving him time to think.
If you don't want to say underrated, overrated as well. I mean, either one. Let's get some extreme here.
That's risky.
That actually underrated is less risky.
That's
underrated. Yeah.
Respect to the underrated's more. This is a real deep dive, but my mind went straight to Günter Haag in the mid 1900s because he held the mile world record at 4:01 for almost a decade. In fact, I think it was a decade. And what a lot of people don't realize is he ran that during a world war. And the reason he wasn't able to break 4 is because at the time, being a professional runner, accepting money means you don't get to compete anymore. So what he had to deal with at the time was stupid red tape. He was working a full-time job, training, and still ran a 4:01. And if you want to look back at history, like Roger Bannister, obviously great runner. He's looked at as the premier sub 4-minute runner. He was the first one to do it. Great athlete. But Günter Haag, I feel like today he's very underappreciated. And yeah, I don't know. I might actually go with him. I'm sure I'm going to think of an answer later and be like, oh, this person or that person.
Are you guys familiar with that guy?
I actually wasn't. But
there you go. So.
But if you're saying 4:01 a decade earlier than Bannister, I mean, that already in my head, I'm like, technology goes a long way. Track surfaces go a long way. And then also the piece of the World War too. That in my mind, I'm like, you guys running 4:01 with no technology, soft surfaces, and
so he won.
So
he won this question.
I
was correct.
I win.
He's so underrated that you don't even know who he is.
Yeah, you won an opinion question. That's rare.
Oh yeah.
Yes, he won the
rarest
opinion
moment.
question.
Yeah.
I mean, you could. This also is kind of true. I feel like you could make an argument for a huge amount of female runners in general, because running already is underserved, and there's just endless talent of female athletes that do not get recognition. If you go into a population, ask if you know who Joshua Cheptegei is, some people will know, but if you ask who Latessa Bet-Gide is, they'll be like, I have no clue who that is. And she broke the world record the same day Cheptegei did.
Yeah.
By more seconds. Well, not by more seconds, but equally as impressive in my opinion. And then there's so many amazing female runners that deserve
you
more.
Should feature in your channel too.
That's true. I mean, it's true.
We're guilty of it too.
Yeah.
Go.
I mean,
they're preaching to ourselves.
Preaching
here.
to the personal choir. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Who do you think would be the best beer miler amongst pro runners if any pro runner were to try it?
That's a great question. And you can jump in on this one as well.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, this is
So-
a question.
Elliot Kipchoge.
So he would be blacked out by half a beer.
he has 0.2% body fat.
I feel so let's preface this. I mean, I'm curious as to who you'd think as well, because you have more experience on this, but I've run a few beer miles in my day, nothing quite like what you've done. But to be a good beer miler, you have to chug well. You need a robust gullet per se. I don't know. Chris Solinsky. I think I might stick with my boy Solinsky.
That's a new one. Okay, that's good. So I've talked to a few people about this. I've talked to Chris Chavez about this, which I feel like he's a pretty good source because he's met all these people.
Oh, he's met everyone.
And
yeah.
Chris Solinsky has never come up, and I actually really like that because he is a stronger runner.
Mm-hmm.
He's a little bit he's big, quote unquote
husky,
quote unquote husky for a pro
pounds.
runner. Obviously, if you saw him next to an average person, he's still skinny, but very muscular. So and he went to Wisconsin drinking school. I don't know if he drank. I'm not saying he drank, but I like that. I like that answer. What I've been told, or what I've heard, I don't know by who, whatever. I've heard that maybe Eric Jenkins and Craig Engels would be good at it.
I will say in 2016, after he ran his 1500, I shared from the same pitcher as Engels, and the boy can drink. He can drink very well.
See, and that's the basis for this. So I don't have any knowledge of like the running plus drinking together, but I've heard that, you know, if you're looking for a runner that tips a few back, those are a couple guys, as well as Karissa Schweizer actually said she thinks Lopez Lemong is a dark horse in the beer mile.
Oh man!
And I could actually, I could maybe see that. I mean, I
feel like if you have that much muscle as a distance runner, your talents are endless. That just is it's like Schwarzenegger level. The guy's jacked out of his mind.
He's absolutely jacked, and I think that he's just one of those guys that his metabolism is just like just going on 100 miles per hour all the time. The beer is just nothing to him. It's just gonna evaporate in his stomach.
Yeah, but the problem that is impossible to really test until you do it is you can metabolize all day, but the talent of getting beer down in a quick fashion, which I'm sure you can appreciate, is so rare. So like to be a good runner does not make a good beer miler. But I only went to Solinsky because I've heard people consider him as a husky runner. I mean, he was the first non-African to run under 27 for the 10K.
Exactly.
But like, I mean, he's clearly got the running chops, but man, I mean, it's such a rare thing to find someone. Maybe Taufik Makhloufi as well from Algeria. He's got a little extra, and he's an Olympic like champion. So I mean, he's clearly got the talent. Even if you can only down a beer in 10 seconds instead of 5 or 6, that's like.
Right.
He's got all these numbers. You see, like
no,
I love this question because
even with like a beer, like how many seconds?
It's completely true though, because this is what we were talking to Ciaran about in his episode was like Ciaran. Okay, even if you can chug each beer like 5 seconds slower than me, your PR in the mile is 20 seconds faster. So the numbers add up, right? Yeah. So. That's how any runner that can, if they can run a 350, 355 and pause for, 10 seconds of beer or whatever it is, then there's potential.
Yeah. I've only run I've run 2 beer miles in my life. And my first one was the fastest. And I remember through halfway, I was like 2:45. I was like, yeah, I got this.
Damn,
and then my last half was like 4 minutes. I think I ran like just over 7 minutes. So I'm like far away from you, but that last half, I want to see whoever we've mentioned attempt it at least once because I'm too curious now.
I absolutely.
Make it happen, guys. Make it happen.
Yeah, I'll get in touch with I'll get in touch with all these Olympians.
We've been floating the idea. Well, first of all, just over 7 minutes on a debut. That was what my debut was. So you're right on the spot.
No pressure.
But yeah, we've been floating it. So I would talk about this with Chris Chavez, as well as just like DMing a little bit with Craig Engels, and then also talking to Karissa about Bowerman Track Club. We're like, we would be willing to put down money, like prize money, and Chris Chavez said the same on if all the pro runners after the Olympics, like September, October, got together for just a beer mile, like winner takes home $3,000 or $2,000, whatever.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Just go do it for
Mr. Beast
fun.
style.
Mr. Beast, that'd be great.
And honestly, well, if they would all be willing to sign off on us like filming it and making a production out of it, I would be willing to put up way more prize money because I think that would absolutely blow up as a video because people would want to see it. I think it would be really cool.
And you would see at least one disaster happen.
Yeah, I mean, and that would totally be something that me, the non-runner, would be interested in. Like, even if I had never been introduced to running, like it's a really cool idea.
Exactly.
Actually, I do want to ask you, what was more difficult, 4:37 beer mile or 10:18 2 mile with the beer?
That's a great question.
I know the 2 mile requires a lot more stomach space.
So I'm going to say the 2 mile because if I look at like the 4:37, I think I could do between like a 4:37 and a 4:47 pretty much any day of the week. But a 10:18, I could maybe only do once every 6 months on the perfect day, because to be able to put down 8 beers without vomiting in the middle and waiting till the end, it's just like, it's kind of like a fluke day. I mean, again, talking about pro running, very similar to that. Some days you just have those days where it's like everything clicks. And that was one of those days, versus the beer mile. Even if I'm having an off day, I know I can drink 4 beers. I know I can run a mile between 4:10 and 4:15, 4:20, whatever the case is on that day. So just by the consistency sake of it, the 10:18 would be harder to replicate than the 4:37.
Yeah, I can only imagine what did you feel like the 30 minutes, hour after that 10:18? Because I've only run 2 beer miles and I felt pretty loose.
Did we? So it was. We were talking earlier about like videos that you've scrapped. Did we record that podcast that we scrapped after that? Or is that?
Oh no, I think that was a different day. So actually, surprisingly, the 10:18, the 2 mile, I think I was no more drunk. I might have even been less drunk than a beer mile, because I'll never throw up after a beer mile. But in that video, I debated whether to leave in the vomiting into that video, because I thought it was gross, but at the same time, I wanted people to know that I'm not like actually chugging 8 beers in 10 minutes. It's kind of like you watch Nathan's hot dog eating contest, and it's like disgusting, but at least I would hope they throw up, down the line. They hold it in for a certain amount of time, but I kind of wanted to show that, like, hey, I'm not actually like getting absolutely trashed right now. Like, I'm actually throwing it up. And so it was no different than the beer mile.
Promoting bulimia.
I guess there's that. Yeah. I don't know. It's a balance. But whenever we hit YouTube monetization, I won't be able to do things like that anymore. So that's pretty much it on that.
That's what the second channel will be for.
Yeah, we'll have to have maybe a Savage channel. We'll see. But
yeah, we've talked about like doing a spin-off channel, or like just a separate channel.
More casual.
We've been talking about that, and I know this could have been a good time to talk about when you asked that question, but since it came back up again, we've talked about that, and we've thrown around that idea of just like having a channel just like Andrew and Eunice, just like where it's not about running, like there might be some running stuff in it, but just like more like to have people know like who we are. We haven't decided on that, we're not sold on the idea, but we do some pretty silly things, and we think we could provide some entertainment, but we haven't dedicated ourselves yet. Like, we haven't said let's do it. We're considering that.
I think.
What do you guys think about that? Hey, let's go. That's what we can say.
I think that's what kind of speaks to the channel, is like accessibility, or just, I don't know, like, it's obviously fun to hang out with you two right now. So like, I'm sure people subbing to the channel.
Exactly. And I was also going to say, it seems like the personal connection is I would almost say that you're somewhat unique in that you've been really successful without just being the person like vlogging or what, like, so like Nick Simmons, Athlete Special, Zach Levitt, Emma Abrahamson. If you think about like some of the runner YouTubers, if you're looking at like a production standpoint, like your production on videos is really good, but I think they'll gravitate toward like less quality on the production, but more of the human connection.
And so we talked about that, like balancing that out, right? And so he was like, well, there's gonna be some people that don't want, some, like, his thing is like, the channel is just like everything he brings out, he wants it to be epic, right? Exactly. And so with a personal, with us being as people, it's not always going to be epic, but it might be entertaining, right? But he doesn't want to mix that. So that's when we came up, and it's actually been this week that we've really been talking about it. Where I was like, you know what? Why don't we just do another channel where, we can kind of promote that other channel, but not like push it. And so whoever is interested in like that personal connection can go to that channel. And whoever just wants that epic, like, oh, TRP just posted something, like they can come up and be like, and so
I need you to like follow me and like be like the epic spokesperson for this show.
You're the hype woman.
We are actually considering that. And thanks.
I think if we're able to do like a 2021 say track tour where you're able to go to some meets and stuff, I think that'd be perfect, where you have like the actual race recaps, etc. on TRP, but then you also have like the behind the scenes, just you covering it, kind of like vlog style as the separate channel.
Right, and me like, like messing around with him, like, telling him how bad he's doing and stuff.
Exactly.
I'm kidding. He's
no, you two are a perfect balance. Like the yin and yang. I love it. This is great.
Thank you.